Hi everyone, Nick Smith here. I've got a small video to share with you looking at how we print to scale, how we prepare a drawing, an output from Lighting Reality to scale. And it centers around the print to scale option, which is over here on the right hand side. You can also access the same thing from the file menu here. And this takes you into the dialog box. Obviously, prior to doing this, I've done a small design. This is a project I've been working on with a client, and there's a small piece of adopted road here and here. So that's already been done in the background, and I've covered that in some other videos. So when we open the print to scale routine, this is how it is presented, and the first thing we need to do is to look at the printer we want to print. So I'm going to use Adobe for this purposes, but this could quite easily be a large format printer like the one we have here. So we set that, and we also set the scale that we want the drawing at. Let's select A1, and I'm going to have a landscape layout, and let's see how that looks. So here we have that now set up. The first thing I need to do is to set the scale up that I want to print at, and let's say I want to print this at 1 to 500. There's a chance that might fit on an A2 drawing, so let's give that a try. Yeah, that works okay. So, so working from the left hand side, we've selected the scale. We can alter the preview size here to look at to increase the size of the actual layout on the screen, and then literally work down the options here. Now, one of the areas that I often get comments about is this blue masking in the background. This is obviously what we apply to exclude the results from for areas that are in the blue masking, but we don't need to show that on the printout. So if we look at the masking over here on the left hand side, we have a choice of blue, hide, white, or multicolor. Now if you select blue, what you will find is that will create a much bigger file because of all the blue pixels it's got in there. White does broadly the same thing. You can see here how it's trimmed the area to the area that's been masked. White does exactly the same thing, except you don't get the blue. It's obviously white, but you still get everything trimmed, including the contours. Whereas if you select hide, what you then find is that the contours that you've used across any of the grids will then be expanded to cover areas that are beyond the area of masking. So it's something that's worth taking a look at, is that, and the same thing applies to the normal printing routine. So we have a couple of options. This is what we call the engineering layout, and this is the default layout. And we have a bunch of options in here that we can modify. We've got all the normal project names, the project number, and so on, so you can edit that from there. Perhaps put today's date on that. Project notes if you've done that as well, and then we can then affect the way that this particular part of the dialog box appears. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to zoom in to 100% so you can actually see what's going on here. So at the moment we've got the summary appearing at the bottom. Now I want to show that somewhere else, so I'm going to turn that off. I want the logo to actually be at the bottom, and prepared by, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with all of that. So I'm happy with that layout. Now it's possible that you might want to put some extra boxes in there. Checked by and approved by, you often see on the original drawing layouts and so on, and you can either put the comment, the initials of the person in here, or you can leave it blank. So if you print it out, you can put those people's in there. Revision information. So this is actually I think this is revision D, and then the printed date. So we'll go with 2017-05 and 20, which is today's date. So now if you want that to be your standard layout, so that in future times you go to print to scale, you can then do that. If you select save as default, next time you come to do it, it will all be arranged in that way. So I'm not going to do that in this case. We can also introduce a couple of other things in here. We have the summary information here. So we can have the summary quality figures that we were looking at before, and we can show wherever we want those to be. So let's go with top left for that. And we can also include a luminaire key as well, which I'm going to go in the top right. Yeah, that kind of works. You can see this is slightly overlapping, so we can play around with the X and Y coordinates and just move the drawing across. Now, when I originally came into this, I'd selected grid 1, and grid 1 is one that I call is called Z_contours, which is one I use to produce the contours across the whole site. But if we'd have selected another grid, let's say grid 2, and then gone into print to scale, then grid 2 would have become visible, and similarly if we had gone to grid 3 and then gone to print to scale, the same thing would have happened, and so on and so forth. Now if we go to WA or work area and then go to print to scale, what we then do is we get all of the calculation grids that are included in the project, and that could be anything up to the 20 that the project allows you to do. We can also do a couple of other things. We can change the size of the actual symbols themselves. We can make them bigger or smaller. I know some people find the symbol sizes a bit too small, so we can do that. And we can also play around with the font sizes as well to make those bigger and smaller as well. So obviously once that's done, we select print. Oh, incidentally, when we print that, when it says customize report, because I have the default values that it's been designed using Lighting Reality software and so on and so forth, it just asks you if you want to change that information to your own organization. I would encourage you to do that. Normally I have my machine set up with Nick Smith Associates in there, but this is a new machine I've been setting up, so it's still got the standard information. So we can go through and make those changes and then do that. So we select Adobe, select print, and that will then allow us to create that file. And after a short amount of time, that will hopefully be created. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this useful. If you have any comments or questions, please add these to the section below. You can message me through YouTube. You can tweet me at nicksmith1246. You can email me support@nicksmithassociates.com. Please subscribe to the channel for future updates so you get notifications. So when I publish new videos like I've done today. And finally, if you have a topic you want me to cover, please message me through YouTube. You can link through LinkedIn. You can tweet me at nicksmith1246 or email support@nicksmithassociates.com. And as you can see, that has now come out in PDF. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it useful, and I will see you on the next video.